Today, we're going to build something every manager needs, but maybe doesn't have: the manager's ethical toolkit. This is the gear you need when a tough call comes, and you know that just going with your gut isn't going to cut it.
So picture this. You're up against a crazy deadline. The pressure is on, and you have to make a decision that has some serious consequences. Your gut is screaming at you to do one thing, but is it the right thing? How can you be sure?
Look, your instincts are valuable, for sure. But here's the thing: relying on them alone when things get complicated can be a real trap. We have to go beyond that initial gut feeling to make a truly sound ethical judgment. And here's why. Our instincts aren't some pure magical guide. They are absolutely shaped by our personal history, which, can sneak in all sorts of unconscious bias. And what about the culture at work? The way we've always done things here might not actually be all that ethical. Add in deadlines and stress, and our judgment gets cloudy. Worst of all, we are fantastic at telling ourselves little stories, rationalizations, to make a questionable choice feel okay. So you need a better framework. Think of it like a new operating system for your brain when you're making these kinds of decisions. A set of tools you can pull out to bring some real clarity when things get murky. So let's build it. We're going to unpack 6 really powerful ethical principles. Think of them as different lenses you can use to look at a problem, lenses that have been helping people figure out moral dilemmas for centuries. Now, each of these principles gives you a totally unique way to look at a situation. You've got the utilitarian lens, which asks about the greatest good, the rights-based lens, which is all about protecting individuals, the justice lens, which is about fairness, duty, virtue, the common good. The key is not to just pick one, but to look at the problem through all of them. Now, here's the secret sauce. These principles aren't supposed to line up perfectly and give you one easy answer. Nope. Their real power comes from the healthy tension they create. They actually force you to see a decision from all sides, which leads to a much stronger, more well-thought-out conclusion. Let's make this real. Imagine a company wants to monitor employee emails to prevent data leaks. From a purely utilitarian view, the greatest good for the group, you might say, sure, it protects the company, it's worth it. But then the rights-based approach slams on the brakes. It says, whoa, wait a minute. What about an individual's fundamental right to privacy? Seeing that clash, that tension, is the very first step toward finding a better, more nuanced solution. Okay, so we have these powerful principles, but how do you actually use them when the pressure is on? That's what's next. We're moving from just the ideas to a practical, step-by-step process. For those really big, high-stakes decisions, this 6-step process is your playbook. First, you get super clear on the actual problem. Then you map out everyone who's affected, the stakeholders. Step 3 is crucial. That's when you run the problem through those 6 ethical lenses. Only then do you start weighing your options, make a choice you can truly stand behind, and, this is a big one, look back and learn from how it all played out. But let's be real. You're not going to run a full 6-step analysis for every little thing that pops up. So what about all those smaller choices you have to make every single day? For those, you need a faster tool. And that's where this quick scan checklist comes in. It's something you can run through in your head in about 30 seconds. This is your daily gut check. Just ask yourself, are we being fair and consistent? Could this backfire and cause real harm? And of course, the classic test. How would I feel if this decision was on the front page of the news tomorrow? If the answer to any of these makes you hesitate, even for a second, that's your signal to slow down and think a little deeper. But beyond a checklist, you also have to learn to listen for the warning signs in your own thinking. I like to call them the internal glitches, those little rationalizations that pop into your head when you might be heading down the wrong path. All right, red alert number 1. Well, it's technically legal. Oh, that is a huge red flag. Remember, legality is the absolute floor, it's not the ceiling. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And here's another classic. But everyone does it. This is just a lazy excuse to follow a flawed norm. Your job as a leader is to set a higher standard, not just follow the crowd, especially if that crowd is heading toward a cliff. And finally, if you hear yourself or someone on your team say, if we don't do it, one of our competitors will, just stop. That is not a justification. It's a signal that you're about to enter a race to the bottom. And that's a race nobody really wins. At the end of the day, having all the right tools is only half the battle. You also need the courage to actually use them and to be really clear about your reasoning.
Because let's be perfectly clear. This toolkit isn't a magic wand. It's not going to spit out an easy, perfect answer that everybody loves. That's not the point. The point is to give you a better, more transparent, and more defensible way to reason your way through the messiness.
And this is the real payoff. When you use this process, you can explain your thinking with real confidence. You can negotiate for better solutions and push back on bad ideas effectively. But most importantly, you build credibility and trust. And that right there is the true currency of leadership.
So, your next tough call, it's coming. It's not a matter of if, but when. The only real question is, with these tools in your hand, what kind of leader are you going to choose to be?